Well, they're celebrating their 20th year of football here in Jacksonville, and Chuck Pagano knows, even though his team has had success, obviously, coming in to this ballpark, into the stadium, he knows that it's always a tough fight. 22 wins as the head coach of the Colts. He's done a heck of a job. And meanwhile, for Gus Bradley, everybody you talk to, from Bradley to the folks here in Jacksonville, they feel like he has everything on the right track. He's only won 4 games, but they think the sky is the limit for this defensive-minded head coach. Scobie will tee it up. Jacksonville won the toss. They've deferred, so Indianapolis will receive to start this ball game. The veteran Scobie in his 11th year, making his 106th start for Jacksonville. That's Griff Whalen back deep to receive. And here we go. We're underway from Jacksonville. Game 3 of the NFL season. And Whalen will take a knee, and the Colts will begin 1st and 10 from their 20. Andrew Luck, as we mentioned, one of the more talented quarterbacks in all the National Football League. And it's only his 3rd season at the helm of the Indianapolis Colts.
Isn't that amazing? He plays like a 10-year veteran at times, but you talk to him and they're not happy with where this passing game or the offense is. They're not happy with the 3 interceptions that they've thrown this season. And so I expect them to try and develop the downfield passing game with those tremendous weapons that they have at wide receiver.
Well, he'll start with 2 tight ends. We expected that. Dwayne Allen and Kobe Fleener both in the ballgame at the same time. Trent Richardson is the starting tailback. Andrew Luck has never lost 3 straight games on any level of football. The first play is a handoff to Richardson. He is met at the line of scrimmage, leans forward for a couple. Dwayne Gratz with the tackle. Let's take a look at the Indianapolis Colts offense, Adam.
Well, there hasn't been a lot of sacks, but there has been a little extra pressure on Andrew Luck lately. A.Q. Shipley gets his 3rd start of the season at center, and the guy that we're going to talk about a lot today, T.Y. Hilton, probably hasn't had the big explosive impact that we saw last year, but certainly is looking to get on track.
You talked to Reggie Wayne about T.Y. Hilton. We talked to Reggie yesterday, and he has nothing but positives to say about him. Well, they overload the right side of the offensive line. We saw this last week against the Eagles. Off the play fake, Luck will throw, and his pass is tipped incomplete, intended for Fleener. The Jacksonville defense, Adam, is probably the best part of their football team right now.
There was a big emphasis on that defensive front in the offseason. Derek Marks, one of the more active no defensive tackles you're going to find in the National Football League. Paul Posluszny is the rock in the middle, as active as any linebacker you're going to find. And a young secondary is happy to get Jonathan Cyprien back, a talented, strong safety who figures to have a big impact.
All right, our first 3rd down of the day for Andrew Luck, and it means Ahmad Bradshaw checks in the backfield. It's 3rd down and 8 from the 22. Colts need to get across the 30 for a 1st down. This place does get loud, more than 70,000. Luck to throw under pressure, has Fleener on the near side, and Fleener has a 1st down. He's marked right above the 30. So a gain of almost 9 on the play. Winston Guy with the tackle.
Nice job in pass protection. You're going to see Posluszny come up the middle. And a good pickup right there. Andrew Luck is now able to step up, find his tight end, and get their first down of the game.
One of the reasons why they brought Ahmad Bradshaw in was because he can block well in the backfields. 1st down from the 31 of Indianapolis. Richardson checks back in. It's an I formation. Now the handoff to Richardson. He starts right. He might have gotten a yard or 2. Jack Doyle was leading the way as the H-back in the backfield. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
And it's going to be tough. You know, last week they went up against the Philadelphia Eagle defensive front that was a little bit smaller, a little bit more quick. But when you look across that line of scrimmage and you see big Red Bryant and Roy Miller and Derek Marks, Chris Clemens, it's going to be tough to get that ground attack going.
Those guys, Chris Clemens, Red Bryant, both played for Gus Bradley in Seattle. Pass is complete to Fleener for another 1st down. Posluszny with the tackle. Andrew Luck sort of winked yesterday when he talked about getting Fleener involved. He said, look for him to get more reps in today's ball game.
Yeah, they really figured that those tight ends, whether it was Fleener or Dwayne Allen or Jack Doyle, should be able to have a pretty good game. And that's a place where this Jacksonville defense, if you look at them over the first 2 games of the season, have had trouble covering the tight ends vertically up the seams.
You know, in 1 catch last week against the Eagles for Fleener, he's in motion on 1st down from the 43. Off the play fake, Luck to throw. He's under pressure. Gets away. Steps inside. Throws on the run. Pass is complete to Hilton. He's shy of the first down. You don't think Andrew Luck can move? Man, he was moving all over the pocket.
Really nice job. Derek Marks, number 99, right here with a really nice pass rush, slanting to the outside. He beats two players, and he's coming. He barely misses Andrew Luck, and Luck is able with that uncanny mobility inside the pocket to keep his eyes downfield and pick up some yardage.
Well, on their first drive of the day, they're inside Jacksonville territory. 3 minutes gone by here in the first quarter. Two tight end set. It's Allen and Doyle. Luck to throw. Middle of the field. Overthrows Dwayne Allen. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
Yeah, Andrew Luck had a wide open touchdown. The Jaguars completely dropped somebody in coverage. And I couldn't exactly see who that was, but that was a touchdown. Missed opportunity for Andrew Luck in this offense.
We see the conversion rate on 3rd down with 3 yards or left. 3 yards or less. They have Bradshaw in the ball game on 3rd down and a little more than 1. They have 1 conversion already. It was 3rd down and 8. Hilton in motion. Off the play fake. Luck to throw. Has Bradshaw out of the backfield for a first down and more inside the 40 to the 36. Leroy Reynolds and Posluszny in on the tackle for the Jaguars.
It's a big part of their passing game, and usually you expect the fullback to come out on that power pass, but this time Bradshaw sprints to the flat. The defense is fooled, expecting run, and another pickup on 3rd down.
So a gain of 12 to the 36. Richardson checks back in. We did expect to see a full dose of Richardson and Bradshaw switching off in the backfield, and that's exactly the case on this first drive.
If I'm the Jags, I've got my antennas up looking for a shot to the end zone.
Reggie Wayne was in motion. The handoff goes to Richardson. He's bumped behind the line of scrimmage. Is able to salvage maybe a yard before he's piled up. Dakota Watson made the tackle for the Jaguars.
And we talked about Red Bryant and the impact that he brings, and it's very difficult on an offense. You got a guy that's 6'4", 323 pounds, and they line him up on tight ends. And so you figure the challenge of anybody trying to run to that strong side, that's a lot of man that you're going to have to account for and try and move out of there.
Well, he said that this Jaguars team reminds him of the Seahawks of 2008. That's not a bad team to remind Jaguar fans of. On 2nd down and 9, Luck to throw. 10th play of the drive. He was looking long. He tries to go to Wayne for the first time, and it's broken up. Winston Guy got a hand in.
Well, a really nice job by Winston Guy. The free safety, you're going to see him come into the screen. Reggie Wayne trying to work it. And a great job of coming underneath and breaking up on that pass. Almost had an interception.
So another 3rd down. They've converted 2. 1 on 3rd and 8. 1 on 3rd and a little more than 1. Now it's 3rd and 9 from the 35. They need to get to the 26 of Jacksonville. Out of the shotgun, the handoff goes to Bradshaw running right. Not much there. Slips through a defender to the 30 before he's taken down by Posluszny, who we've already seen is unbelievably active from that middle linebacker position.
And that's a down and distance that they wanted to stay away from, and they felt like if they were able to get those positive plays on 1st and 2nd down and getting those 3rd and short opportunities, and that was going to be a key to their success. It's tough. Anytime you get 3rd and long, very difficult to try and convert in the National Football League.
The veteran Adam Vinatieri on to try to convert a 46-yard field goal. He's already made one 46-yarder this year. McAfee is the holder. And even at his age, he still has plenty of leg, and it is good. The Colts jump out to a 3-0 lead on their first drive of the afternoon. Chuck Pagano very happy about that. We'll be back after this. 12-play drive. It amassed 5 minutes and 23 seconds. Adam Vinatieri's 48-yard field goal, now his longest of the season, has given the Colts a 3-0 lead. Pat McAfee will tee it up at the 35. Todman is back deep to receive for the Jaguars. And Todman's going to let that one go right out of the end zone. So Jacksonville will begin First and 10 from its 20. Chad Henne, the 7th-year pro, well, he was on his back a lot last week with the 10 sacks against the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, really a tough environment for any quarterback to try and navigate through last week. They had problems on the offensive line. They had 3 rookie wide receivers, and they weren't able to get that running game going. So it was an awfully difficult afternoon. They're trying to change that here today.
Defoe is the fullback, and he is in the offset I formation. There's shorts in motion. He should help today. The handoff to Gerhardt, and Gerhardt goes over the block of his right guard for maybe 2. All right, let's take a look at the Jaguars' offense for this afternoon's ballgame.
Yeah, if you notice, 2 rookies right there on that right side, and Sam Young getting the start at right tackle, filling in for Austin Pastor, and Toby Gerhardt came here to be that bell cow, that downhill runner. Not enough opportunities last week because they were behind, but certainly they want to get him going.
They did say that we would see a lot of Denard Robinson, the former quarterback from Michigan, in the backfield, and he's in for the first time today in this I formation. 3 receivers. Robinson takes the handoff, steps inside, and he'll get a couple to the 24. The Colts defense, well, they've been banged up too.
And they have to figure out a way to get to the passer. Ricky Jean-Francois is stepping in for the injured Art Jones. They need to manufacture some pressure. DeQuell Jackson comes over as the captain, the inside linebacker making plays in the line of scrimmage. And the secondary has done a pretty good job on the edges against the wide receivers. Greg Toller with their only interception of the season.
It'll be 3rd down. Todman checks in the backfield for the Jaguars. Henne out of the shotgun for the first time. The blitz is coming. Pass is complete to the outside. And very close to a first down are the Jaguars. Pass was complete to Allen Robinson.
Well, that's the right play for the call. The Colts trying to manufacture a little bit of pressure, and they go to a wide receiver screen, but the Colts doing a good job out there. Greg Toller getting off the block and getting him down before it gets past the first down marker.
So Brian Anger is going to be on the punt for the first time. What I talked about being busy last week. He was very busy. Griff Wellen, who's turned into a pretty good return man for the Colts, is back deep to receive inside his 25. And the first punt of the day is a high one, and Whelan's going to call for a fair catch. So the Colts will get it back for their second drive of the afternoon on top 3-0 over Jacksonville.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. Jaguar. See the new model year lineup at JaguarUSA.com. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next.
Aerial coverage of today's game is provided by MetLife. This is a beautiful stadium. We mentioned this is the 20th year of football for the Jaguars. Everbank Field, they've done a lot of refurbishing to it. Second series for the Colts. It's first down from the 26 of Indianapolis. Off the play fake. Luck to throw, has time. Plenty of time, has Wayne for a first down. He'll be marked at the 42. Winston Guy and Jonathan Cyprien were both in on the coverage. But boy, did he have a couple of feet.
And this is what they do. They stack the receivers so the Jags can't get their hands on them. You see the clean pocket. Reggie Wayne runs to the corner route, and he's all alone out there. That's an easy throw for Andrew Luck. See how they put those wide receivers inside? You're going to watch Reggie break to the 7 route after the corner gets cleared out by T.Y. Hilton.
Gain of 16 on first down from the 42. Luck under center. Looks like he's calling out an audible. This is where he's so good, even at such a young age. Reading the defenses. Quick drop, quick toss, quick hit. Loss of 1 on the play. Alan Ball in on the coverage of T.Y. Hilton.
Well, that's how you play it. Alan Ball was not fooled. He's playing off. Watch him as he plants. And he sees it right there and smacks T.Y. Hilton as he attempts to catch the ball. Very good job of reading your keys, reading the quarterback's eyes, and making a nice physical play.
From the 41, Luck out of the shotgun. He's thrown 9 times so far in this first quarter. We've got movement.
Encroachment, number 97, defense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
That's Walt Coleman, the veteran referee. And the penalty is on Roy Miller, the veteran from Texas. Well, we talked yesterday to Andrew Luck about the cadence when he gets up to the line of scrimmage, and it's become so known around the National Football League. He said, well, when he was a kid, his dad said you have to have a quarterback voice. And he said he takes guilty pleasure of drawing the defense off sides. Off the play fake, he'll throw again. He can run it if he needs to. And he'll get a short gain as he goes out of bounds, a gain of 2, because Lesney was chasing.
Really a nice job in coverage downfield, and they're trying to get that play action pass. And I think that's one of Andrew Luck's greatest strengths, is his ability to throw the ball downfield in the play action pass. And for the Jaguars, they talked about, we've got to make sure that we keep Andrew Luck inside the pocket. We can't let him break contain and make plays with his legs. So now you have 3rd and 4. They failed to execute in the 3rd and long in the last drive. This is a much better situation for them to be in. This is the kind of down and distance where Pep Hamilton has full access of the playbook.
Play clock is down to 5. Boone Herring in for the first time. Play clock down to 1. Gets the snap off. Luck to throw. Has time. Quick pass complete to Hakeem Nicks, who has a first down. Little separation from Dwayne Gratz. A gain of 12.
Now watch the offensive line just doing a really good job of giving Andrew Luck a clean pocket. Ryan Davis, number 59, is going to come and try and come around. And there's just not enough time, and that allows Hakeem Nicks to run the curl route, get that needed separation, and another first down pickup.
Well, good job by the offensive line, too, to give him that time, that space to make a clean throw. First down from the 40 of Jacksonville.
And when you watch them, when they tried to throw the ball downfield, there always is just that one little bit of pressure that's in Andrew Luck's face.
Jack Doyle, the tight end, is in the backfield as an H-back. Luck to throw again, and he'll throw to Doyle, who has to corral it, and then is corralled by Geno Hayes. Follow all of today's football action. Download the CBS Sports app now for lightning-fast scores, breaking news, video, and more, all on your phone. So a short gain. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Along with Adam Archuleta, I'm Tom McCarthy from Jacksonville, Florida. It's the home opener for the Jaguars. Both these teams 0-2. Luck has thrown more than he's handed off so far in this first quarter. Second time inside Jacksonville territory. Play clock down to 3, and he hands the ball off to Richardson, running hard. He found a seam, stumbles across the 20, inside the 15 to the 11. A gain of 27, Adam.
Tom, this is what they want from Trent Richardson. Watch the cutback right there. Right there as he sees the hole. He's going to the right. He sees his offensive line. He cuts back, gets his shoulders downfield, and an explosive run past 10 yards, and that's what they want to see. They want to see Trent Richardson be able to be that bell cow inside between the tackles.
Well, it was a year ago that he was acquired from the Cleveland Browns, and they feel like he's got a grasp of the offense now. He'll take it again, and he's inside the 10 before he's piled on. Well, Trent Richardson, who was a big-time pick out of the University of Alabama. It didn't work out with the Cleveland Browns. Everybody was surprised when the Colts made this trade a year ago because they gave up a first-round pick. But last couple weeks, he's starting to pay dividends. Little hurry up on 2nd down. Luck to throw. Doyle tripped up at the 6 by Gratz.
Another play-action pass. They're trying to hit the tight end on the corner route. And a nice job by the Jaguars rallying up, minimizing the gain, setting up another 3rd and medium. The Colts so far today have been pretty good on 3rd downs. It's been when they've been tight, when they've been in Jacksonville territory that ended their drive last time, but
3rd down and 5 from the 6. They can get a first down if they get to the 1. Luck to throw. To the middle for Bradshaw, into the end zone. Touchdown, Colts. A 6-yard toss, and Ahmad Bradshaw picks up his 3rd touchdown of the year in the air.
A big part of the game last week, Ahmad Bradshaw, wide receiver, angle route. You're going to see this Telvin Smith, number 50, in the middle of the field. A little bit too late reacting. Perfect timing, and Bradshaw gets the first touchdown for the Indianapolis Colts.
Vinatieri on for the point after. And the Colts jump out to a 10-0 first quarter lead. Well, Ahmad Bradshaw certainly has picked up some slack out of the backfield, and he helps the Colts to the end zone. Well, it's important to stay hydrated on an afternoon like this. It's hot here at Jacksonville. It didn't bother Ahmad Bradshaw on the 6-yard touchdown reception from Luck, who Adam was 6 for 6 on that last drive for the Colts.
That's exactly what they need from him, and not to mention 4 for 5 so far in the first quarter on third downs.
Todman will return this one for the Jaguars, and he's going to get up to the 20-yard line, maybe the 21. So the Jaguars just their second possession of the afternoon. Chad Henne has sat a lot so far. He's down by 10.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx One Rate. Simple flat rate shipping with the reliability of FedEx. And by Bose, official sound of the NFL.
Thursday football starts here. It's an NFC East rivalry as the Giants take on the Redskins. Another big-time matchup in prime time. Thursday night football on NFL Network and CBS. Both teams are playing as we speak, and the Eagles are trailing the Redskins 14-7. Giants are tied right now with the Texans. Here's Robinson on the pitch from Henne. A gain of 7 on the play. Warner and Landry make the tackle. All right, Denard Robinson, former quarterback, learning the trade of being a running back.
And they put in Toby Gerhart at fullback, number 21, trying to influence the defense. And Robinson, he's just too fast. He's got too much speed for Bjorn Werner to try and get out there. It's a positive play. They've got to establish something. Last week they started 3 and outs. They've got to be able to pick up a first down and get some length on this drive.
On second down, they lofted the near side for Shorts, his first target of the day, incomplete. It'll be third down.
Well, they're trying to get explosion in their passing game. Cecil Shorts lines up tight to give him extra room on the sideline, trying to get down the field. And pretty good coverage out there by Vontae Davis. Nowhere really to throw the ball.
Shorts missed the first 2 weeks with some hamstring issues. He is, as Adam said in the open, he's their veteran presence as a wide receiver. It'll be third down and 3. 1:08 to play here in the first quarter. Colts have scored on both of their possessions. Henne to throw on third down, incomplete, intended for Shorts. And the Jaguar fans are probably losing their patience at this point. Second 3 and out for the Jaguars this afternoon. Butler was in on the coverage of Cecil Shorts.
And exactly what we spoke about can't happen. And you talk to Jed Fish, their offensive coordinator, and Gus Bradley, during the week. We've got to be able to get something positive going. We can't start out 3 and out. We can't have 2 drives in a row that go 3 and out. There was a point in last week's game in the second quarter where they only had 1 yard of offense.
Well, and back deep to receive this punt, calls the fair catch. Well, Andrew Luck has had success so far in his first 2 drives, a field goal and a touchdown. Drive 3 begins next. Well, if you're the Jaguars defense, that 11:09 time of possession for the Colts, that's a big deal right now.
We're good. Second out.
Colts will take over third possession of the afternoon. They're up 10-0. T.Y. Hilton's in motion from the 24 of Indianapolis. Luck off the play fake to throw again, and he has Allen, his tight ends, along the numbers at the 45. Rats in on the coverage. Dwayne Allen's really just a big load to cover if you're a defensive back.
Yeah, they're doing play action pass. You're going to find him right here in the seam. 2 tight ends to one side. Andrew Luck sees what coverage. He understands there's no disguise. This is going to be cover 3. And inside of that cover 3, the tight end should be open. Easy throw and catch.
So a 22-yard gain. It's first down from the 46. All 3 tight ends are in the ball game. The unbalanced line is the right side for the Colts. And the handoff is, well, met immediately. A loss of 1 on the play. Well, that's good coverage right there by Red Bryant.
He's a load. Big number 79.
Well, that's the end of the first quarter with the score of the Colts 10, the Jaguars nothing. We'll return to Jacksonville after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Colts 10, Jaguars nothing. We get set for the second quarter. Tomorrow's the night for the Big Bang Theory season premiere. Don't miss 2 new back-to-back episodes on its new night. Tomorrow at 8, 7 Central, only on CBS. One of the 2 waiting pools here in Jacksonville. Part of the renovations from the end of last season to the beginning of this season. We start the second quarter at 2nd and 11 for the Colts, and a quick dump pass to Dwayne Allen takes them to the 47 of Jacksonville. All right, so they've refurbished this stadium. They've spent over $60 million in improvements. They have 2 362-foot video boards, and they also have 2 wading pools that you can use during the course of a ball game. That will keep your attention, well, on the field and even off the fields.
And so will this third down here for the Jacksonville defense. They have to get a stop so far. Andrew Luck, 4 for 5 on third down so far this afternoon. Critical stop here for the Jaguars.
The Colts are smothering the time of possession so far in this first half. Luck out of the shotgun, steps up in the pocket, pass complete to Reggie Wayne. He came underneath and had nobody around him for a first down. Telvin Smith came in on the tackle to the 32.
Well, they're going to fake the blitz inside, and they're going to drop off and play cover 2 right here, and the 4-man rush gets nothing. Clean pocket for Luck. Reggie Wayne gets a chance to run the shallow cross where Telvin Smith is too deep, and another third down conversion. In that time of possession, that defense right now, they've got to be gassed. They've been on that field. They haven't been able to get off the field, and Andrew Luck has been on point third downs.
Luck to throw again. Pass is complete to T.Y. Hilton, and he breaks down to the 10. Alan Ball in on the tackle. Well, they say that he can read defenses, Luck, as well as most veteran quarterbacks, if not better. He really does read defenses.
Well, he does a really good job, and really T.Y. Hilton does a really good job reading the defense as well. This is quarterback, wide receiver in sync, understanding where both are supposed to be. T.Y. Hilton runs a really, really nice route, and Andrew Luck hits him perfectly.
That was a pass play of 22 yards, so 8 plays of 10 yards or more for the Colts. It's 1st and goal. The pitch to Bradshaw, running right across the 5, down inside the 5 to the 3, maybe the 2-yard line. Roy Miller with the tackle.
Well, trying to get outside, and if you watched last week against the Eagles, Bradshaw did a nice job working the edges. Sherrillis outside on the corner, that's a mismatch. And you see the offensive lineman downfield getting to that next level. A.Q. Shipley getting his hands on a linebacker. Now, that's a really positive run on first down.
Gus Bradley wants a timeout. He had some late defensive substitutions. So he'll burn the first timeout of the first half for the Jaguars with 12:33 to play
Jacksonville
here in the second quarter.
30-second timeout.
They call themselves Scorpion, 4 of the smartest people in the world working together to fight threats against America. Inspired by a true story, Scorpion premieres tomorrow after the Big Bang Theory, only on CBS. All right, Adam, you played your college ball in Arizona at Arizona State. You faced warm days like this. You played in the National Football League in warm stadiums. What is this like for the defense right now?
It's hard. It's hard. One of the hardest things to do as a defensive player is to get out there and give it your best on these long drives. And when you go back to back to back long drives and you can't get off the field, you've already played here early in the second quarter, 26 plays, you get gassed. And right now the Colts are taking advantage of that fatigue, and you're seeing the Jaguars not really able to make those impact plays early in this ballgame.
You see the time of possession dominated by the Colts. Off the play fake, Luck to throw. He has Allen in the flat, and Allen into the end zone. Touchdown, Indianapolis.
Well, it's all about eye discipline. You're going to see Allen, number 83. He's lined up as a fullback, and he's going to go right back behind the line of scrimmage. Every football team in the National Football League and college runs this. Winston Guy tries to come over and make the tackle, but it's too late. Allen's too big, and the Colts putting together another impressive drive.
Well, Dwayne Allen was not involved that much last week for the Colts. They felt like they needed to get him involved this week. He's got 3 receptions for 31 yards. What did Reggie Wayne say to us yesterday in our meetings? Hey, the man's got 2 brand new hips. We got to get him involved.
He's got new hips. He's running around like he's got new hips. He's explosive. He's powerful. Reggie Wayne raved about the potential of Dwayne Allen.
Here's Vinatieri on for the point after. It's good. Well, this is domination right now for the Colts. They've come into Jacksonville, and they have scored on their first 3 possessions. They lead at 17-0. 12:28 to play here in the first half. It's already 17-0 Colts. 7 plays, 76 yards. Dwayne Allen, a 1-yard touchdown reception. Andrew Luck, 5 for 5 on the drive. Adam, he's converted his last 11 passes as Todman is back to receive. The ball goes over his head and out of bounds. Saturday, it's the best game for the best conference when Arkansas battles Texas A&M on the Home Depot SEC on CBS. It all begins at 3 Eastern with college football today. Well, some great games in college football yesterday. Texas A&M did not have any trouble at all with SMU. At all.
That's funny, Tom.
On first down from the 20. Chad Henne under center. One back set. It's Gerhardt off the play fake. Henne to throw. Looking long. Middle of the field. And it's incomplete. He overthrew Allen Robinson, the rookie receiver out of Penn State. And boy, Chad Henne really took a hit after he let this one go.
Yeah, he threw the ball in coverage. Lauren Landry doing a really good job downfield. And then you see right there a shot by Corey Redding right in the chest. So, you know, you've seen the Jaguars try and mix it up. You had Denard Robinson on a little flip. You've had some 3-step. You've tried to go downfield so far. Nothing happening.
Play fake to Gerhardt. Henne to throw again. He rolls the pocket. He can keep it, although he gains nothing on the play. The coverage was there. DeQuell Jackson, the very talented middle linebacker, came over to take him down as Corey Redding was chasing. It'll be 3rd down and long. Well, last week Henne said they tried everything against the Redskins. It seems like they're trying everything again here today. But 2 straight 3-and-outs, and they're on the verge of another one right here.
And they're trying to get the ball out of his hands quickly. They do not want what happened last week to happen here again. And this is not a down and distance that the Jaguars are built for trying to convert. They watch the stack up top.
A 3rd down, Henne to throw under pressure. He's going down. A flag is down on the far side of the field. Eric Walden comes in to record his 2nd sack of the year.
It was a straight
illegal
bull rush.
formation on the offense, number 76, and not on the line of scrimmage. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
It was a bull rush. Eric Walden just turning speed into power off of the edge. Overpowering the tight end right there, Marcel Jensen, as he drives him back and gets a sack on Chad Henne.
Just the 2nd sack of the year for the Colts. They said they had to manufacture pressure somewhere. As Anger gets it off and he's hit, the ball was deflected. It bounces inside Indianapolis territory and goes out of bounds inside the 45. Well, pressure on the quarterback, pressure on the punter, pressure everywhere from the Colts. Offensively, defensively, they're dominating right now.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the United States Marine Corps, the few, the proud, the Marines. DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Well, we've enjoyed our time here in Jacksonville the last few days. They haven't enjoyed the first half so far. They're down 17-0. From all accounts, Gus Bradley seems to be leading this team in the right direction. You want to talk about a guy that is positive in every step of his life. He's trying to coach up this defense right now to slow down Andrew Luck, because Luck has been on fire. Up 17-0. It's 1st down from the 42. The handoff is given on an end around to Dante Moncrief, and Moncrief to the far side of the field picks up some positive yardage. All right, well, this kid is special, and he's shown in this first half how special he is. And
he's found a lot of different receivers. 7 different receivers getting action so far. Reggie Wayne in nice coverage. He finds Ahmad Bradshaw for a touchdown and then caps it off. Their 2nd touchdown of the day to their promising tight end Dwayne Allen. And it's been mostly uncontested catches.
On the play fake, he's converted his last 11 passes, make it 12. This one to Fleener on the outside, inside Jacksonville's 30 to the 28.
Well, you're asking for a downfield passing attack. Again, play action pass, not much of a play fake. You're going to see T.Y. Hilton try and run just kind of a corner post, but again, the corner out, working the edges, cleaner mismatch on a linebacker, and Luck puts him up, puts it right where it needs to be.
Trent Richardson checks back into the ball game for the Colts. 12 straight completions for Luck. It's first down from the 28. This team has scored on its first 3 offensive possessions. They dump it off underneath to Moncrief. And Moncrief, after slipping back behind the line of scrimmage, moves forward to the 21. Posluszny takes him down.
Well, they're trying to get Moncrief involved. You saw him on a reverse here, another shallow cross where he breaks a tackle. Rookie out of Ole Miss had a catch for 16 yards last week. One of their draft picks this year in the 3rd round. And again, Luck trying to give everybody a little bit of action, a little taste of the NFL.
All right, so Andrew said yesterday that best case scenario for him would be a 50-50 sort of layout offensively. You buying that right now?
I don't buy that one bit. He'll do whatever it takes to win, but I think he likes throwing the ball downfield.
On 2nd down, he'll throw again. Looking to the far side for the end zone, a wide open Fleener, and he dropped it. Kobe Fleener will never be that wide open again. He doesn't usually miss when Andrew Luck throws him a pass like that.
Wow. That's about as good as it gets. I don't think Andrew Luck can do anything else. Fleener wide open. That's one of those I think you kind of know you're all alone and you can't drop it. I think it just took so long he took his eyes off it.
Well, Luck wants the offense to go quickly here. It's 3rd down and 2. Under 10 minutes to play here in the first half. They've been very good on 3rd down conversions. Blake Block is down to 2. Roll in the pocket, chase from behind, and he goes down. Andre Branch from behind, his 3rd sack of the year.
Well, that's what they needed off of the left side. Andre Branch chasing down Andrew Luck. You saw Chris Clemens, he went inside, and it looked like Luck was going to be able to break, contain, possibly run for that first down, but you love the hustle to chase him down from behind. Andre Branch doing a nice job.
Branch, the 3rd-year pro out of Clemson. Here's Vinatieri on for a 43-yard field goal attempt. He's made a 48-yarder already today. Good snap, good hold. Kick is on its way. It is good. So 4 possessions, 4 scores. The Colts up 20-0. Chuck Pagano, well, he's loving life right now the way his quarterback's playing. Colts on top 20-0. 9:08 to play here in the first half. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the scores and highlights, as well as a preview of Thursday night's Giants-Redskins game on CBS and NFL Network. That's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. We got started this past Thursday with the Falcons winning big. Colts will kick it off. Todman is just going to take a knee. It'll be first down for the Jaguars. Chad Henne brings his offense back onto the field. You know, Adam, there's been a lot of clamoring for Blake Bortles, the rookie who was their 1st-round draft pick. They're trying to ease him at some point into this offense with all the reps at practice more than anything else.
That's the plan, and in a perfect world, that's what they wanted to do, and they didn't think that they'd be sitting here having all these offensive problems, but they drafted him for a reason, to give some life and some pop to this offense and revive a passing game that has struggled for several seasons.
Now you wonder if they're thinking more and more about the decision of when to put him in to a ball game. I mean, they're down 20-0 at this point. I know that their offensive line has had issues. They don't want him to get banged around. It's not all Chad Henne's fault, but they may be getting closer to that decision of putting him into a ball game.
Yeah, I think they are, but I think they want to be sure that, you know, he has some type of a support system around him. And because of what happened last week against the Washington Redskins, you don't want him in there with a bunch of rookie receivers. You have 2 rookies starting on your offensive line. Your starting right tackle is inactive today because he has a broken hand. There's so many things around him that aren't quite in place to put him in that type of a situation.
Well, it's 3rd down and 1. They've had 2 straight runs for Toby Gerhart. That's what they've done on their last 3 possessions. Trying to get a first down here. Shorts in motion, off the play fake to Shorts. Henne's under pressure, dumps it off to Gerhart, who has a first down.
Well, they're trying to get creative. They're going to motion Cecil Shorts across the formation and try and get the Colts to account for him and then bring Toby Gerhart underneath a swap bootleg. And it's amazing that we're sitting here, midway through the second quarter, and that's their first down of the game.
Meanwhile, Indianapolis has 12. The handoff to Robinson right up the middle. Met at the 35, a gain of 1. Montori Hughes, third-year pro out of Tennessee Martin, makes the tackle.
And one of the things that Jed Fish talked about in trying to get that running game, and that is their goal, and that is their emphasis to be a downhill running team, is just that they have to get more attempts. Last week they didn't convert, and they only had 8 first downs in the entire ball game. So first downs are critical to trying to get this running game going.
Second down and long, a mock flea flicker, and it's read perfectly by the Colts. LaRon Landry was first to meet him. Eric Walden was there as well. And Henny is sacked for the 3rd time today.
Well, Greg Minuski dialing up a little pressure. They're trying to get something going, trying to run a flea flicker, but just absolutely no time. That was a perfect call by Greg Minuski. I mean, bringing LaRon Landry off of the edge, completely thwarting that trick play attempt.
A loss of 9. It'll be 3rd down and 19 from the 26 of Jacksonville. There's Minuski. Want to talk about somebody who was active in the meeting. That guy was active yesterday. Whistles blow. That play is dead. Flags come flying in late. It looked as if Bjorn Werner jumped for the Colts.
You're going to get Ricky Jean-Francois.
Number 93, defense, unabated for the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
No, Walt Coleman.
Well, you got 3 guys.
I was going to say, you got a bunch of guys jumping. So they call it on Eric Walden, strong side linebacker. So they get 5 yards back. It's still 3rd and long from the 31. They need to get to the 44 of Jacksonville for a first down.
You see the Colts secondary playing way back. This is like a loose cover 4.
Eddie out of the shotgun, looking to throw to the middle. Pass complete to Marcel Jensen. And Jensen gets to the 39, but that's it. DeQuell Jackson was there in the coverage, and the Jaguars will be forced to punt.
Well, you hear the crowd a little bit, and I kind of tend to agree with them. You're 3rd and long. You're down by 20 points, and you essentially throw a check down well before the sticks and the first down marker. I think you still have to at least try and threaten and go downfield a little bit and try and make something happen. I don't know if right now is the appropriate time to be conservative.
Well, Griff Whelan's back deep to receive. His anger is about to punt for the 4th time today. And Whelan will let that one go over his head. With 5:24 to play here in the first half, Andrew Luck has had a phenomenal first half for the Colts. He'll get another shot offensively when we return to Jacksonville.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL, and by Quicken Loans, for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze.
The NFL and all 32 teams proudly support Hispanic Heritage Month, recognizing Latino fans, players, coaches, and staff, and celebrating the diversity of the National Football League. Each team is getting involved with Hispanic Heritage Month. In fact, the Colts, before they came here to Jacksonville, they hosted a Hispanic Heritage football camp. Corey Redding was a big part of that. Andrew Luck, his team on top 20-0, 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals so far. Ahmad Bradshaw is in the backfield. Luck had a string of 13 straight passes that he completed at one point in this first half. It ended with a drop in the end zone by Fleener. The handoff to Bradshaw, who's hit in the backfield, and he cuts back across the 25 up to the 28. 5:16 to play here. Let's check in with JB back in New York with Tony Gonzalez.
what a weapon Gronkowski is.
Yes, and I know Tom Brady's happy to have him back. We've seen this before. You can see Rob Gronkowski catch a 6-yard touchdown pass from Tom Brady. New England is up 7-3. There's the Gronk spike.
I'm sure Adam Archuleta agrees that will be a hard tackle there. Tom and Adam.
All right, JB. All right, well, how about it? These tight ends, they're tough to wrap up if you're a defensive back.
Oh, these days are really Tony Gonzalez. He's the one who kind of started it. You know, those basketball players. Who knew basketball players would be tough out there on the football field? But, boy, they get better and better every year.
First down run for the Colts. There's an injured player, Hugh Thornton, down on the ground for the Colts. And he finally just sits down at the 30-yard line. He's holding that right leg. So 4:33 left to play in the first half. Indianapolis on top 20-0 over Jacksonville. Week 3 continues later today on CBS and for some of you on Fox. Then tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC. And tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football, the Jets and the Bears on ESPN. Well, there's Thornton, who was helped off the field. They're taping up his lower leg at this point. And checking into the ballgame is Jonathan Harrison. Now, they thought maybe if they had an injury on the offensive line that Harrison would be the center and Shipley would move to the guard, but they've decided to keep Shipley at the center position, and Harrison is the guard. Jaguars may have jumped. This is a free play. Luck to throw. Wobbles one to the far side. Pass is complete to T.Y. Hilton, who's knocked out of bounds at the 25 of Jacksonville. Jonathan Cyprien in on the tackle. Geno Hayes may have jumped for the Jags.
For 56 defense, the penalties decline. Play results in a first down.
All right, so it was Leroy Reynolds, a 39-yard pass play on a free play.
Boy, it's tough. Anytime you get those two wide receivers stacked, you got another drop in coverage. The Colts are attacking the Jaguars on those 7 cuts, those corner routes. That's the 3rd time today. Remember, Kobe Fleener dropped one in the end zone that they've been able to hit. So that's been a part of the field that the Jags have left open the entire afternoon.
So another first down inside Jacksonville territory. Under 4 minutes to play in the first half.
No, B. Cowboys, ready!
Audible call by Luck, and the handoff given to Bradshaw. And Bradshaw may have gotten a couple after darting forward. So it'll be second down. Well, Andrew Luck talks about, that cadence, having a quarterback voice. And he said free plays, he was taught by Harbaugh, he was taught by his dad, he was taught by Hasselbeck how important they are for an offense.
Yeah, get those free plays. Nothing bad can happen. It's a chance to go downfield. And if you get an interception, it comes back, you get another shot at it.
Well, timeout called with 3:13 to play. Timeout called by Jacksonville. Well, one thing that we've noticed even in our meetings with Andrew Luck yesterday is how mature he is. He talked about, and Pep Hamilton discussed this too, about offensively learning from so many different people during their walks of life. Luck had his dad Oliver, who was a quarterback in the National Football League, to learn from the outset. He had Jim Harbaugh. He pointed to high school coaches. He pointed to Pop Warner coaches. Obviously, he's had Pep up by his side for the last several years too. And of course Hasselbeck as his backup. He's learned from him too.
And really one of the things, there's a lot of things that separate him from a lot of different quarterbacks, but his ability to process information and retain information and kind of build up this mental Rolodex of everything that's happened throughout the course of your career so that you can draw upon it at a moment's notice.
Hasselbeck told him that he learned from Brett Favre how important it is to get those free plays as a quarterback. Ahmad Bradshaw in the ball game on second down. Second down at 9 from the 24. Luck again to throw. Not much open. He'll run it. Breaks a tackle inside the 20. Dives forward inside the 15. And he's got a first down. You talked in the open about missed tackles, how important it was for the Jaguars to fix that. Well, they've already had 10 here this afternoon.
Yeah, he's a big, strong guy, 6'4", 240 pounds, and he just runs right through the arm tackle of Avery Jones, the defensive tackle. And that's tough. Anytime you have a chance to get a quarterback on the ground, he escapes and picks up the first down. That's demoralizing to a defense.
Last week, 21 missed tackles, as Adam mentioned during the open. 10 already in this first half. Formation for the Colts. The handoff to Bradshaw. He slips a tackle, breaks down inside the 10. And dives forward to the 7-yard line. Leslie and Avery Jones in on the tackle for the Colts.
Good piece of running inside by Bradshaw as he follows his tight end, Jack Doyle, coming around. He sees the cut, gets upfield. It takes a little shoelace tackle to get him down.
Well, this is not a sight that anyone in Jacksonville wants to see. Paul Leslie down on one knee. 19 tackles so far this season, and if you talk to anybody who's part of this defense, I mean, he is the key to this defense. And he's limping off the field right now. Would you say quintessential middle linebacker?
He's a throwback. You know, old school linebacker, plays inside extremely well. Led this team in tackles for the last 3 seasons. Smart. Everything you want.
Well, they'll check him out as we've reached 2 minutes left to play here in the first half. They're probably going to put some time back on the clock. Walt Coleman just informed the game operator to put 12 seconds back on. Well, this offense has been on the field an awful lot. They don't seem like they're worn down at all, even with all the plays in this heat this afternoon that they've put together in this first half. They'll take another break as we roll into the 2-minute warning here at Jacksonville. It's all Indianapolis on top 20-0 here in the first half. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the scores and highlights, as well as a preview of Thursday night's Giants-Redskins game on CBS and the NFL Network. That's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Looking high above Everbank Field. The Colts threatening again. Fleener was in the backfield. He's in motion. Luck has had a lot of luck in the red zone so far today. He hitches to the right and will keep it. He has scored 9 touchdowns himself running during his career, but a short gain. It'll be 3rd down. They have gotten 1 on that. And Leslie is ready to go. Hopefully that was just a cramp, because he looked like he was moving pretty good back onto the field.
It's going to set up another 3rd down conversion here for Indianapolis. And remember, Jacksonville, they get the ball back at halftime. So it'd be nice if they can try and limit this to just a field goal attempt.
Vinatieri has 2 field goals so far for the Colts. They can get a first down inside the 5, and Luck's pass is complete to T.Y. Hilton, I believe. Jaguars are saying that hit the grounds. If it is complete, it will be a first down. It'll be 1st and goal, and that's what they're saying. It'll be 1st and goal for the Colts.
I think they got to take a look at it.
Here comes the red flag. Gus Bradley's thrown the red flag. Nobody sees it. Luck to throw, and he just spikes it. Finally, the officials saw it. It was sitting on the field for a few moments. And Gus Bradley is out on the field right now saying, hey, listen, I threw it down before he even got under center.
That was pretty close. It looked like the ball hit the ground simultaneously.
Well, that's a tough one to see. Yeah, I think that hit the ground just a hair before it hit his hands.
I think I'm in agreement with you, Tom. It was awfully quick, but it looked like before he secured possession, that ball did hit the ground, because you see as he brings it up, you even see a little ball movement right there.
Awfully close, though.
The previous play will be reviewed.
So Walt Coleman just informs the crowd here that the previous play is under review. So we'll take a timeout. Colts are knocking on the door. This is a decent-sized challenge for Indianapolis. We'll be back after this. All right, so the ruling on the field is that we had a complete pass and a first down to T.Y. Hilton for the Indianapolis Colts. Gus Bradley, though, threw the challenge flag. And looking at the replay, it did look like the ball hit the ground just a hair before T.Y. Hilton had control of it. We have 52 seconds left to play here in the first half. Boy, this is a dart right down to the field. Well, Mike Carey is our officiating expert. All right, Mike, let's put those eyes to work. What do you think here, buddy?
Well, you have two issues here, and one is really important. The first one is easy. The ball hits the ground before he makes the catch. That's going to be incomplete. But then the challenge flag by the offense is not a reviewable play for them. It's only reviewable by the replay official, so Indy's going to lose a timeout too. It'll be 4th down from the previous spot.
After reviewing the play, the ball hit the ground prior to the receiver catching the ball. It's an incomplete pass. It'll be 4th
All right,
down.
so Walt Coleman is calling it an incomplete
At
pass.
the 7-yard line. Please reset the clock to 1:13.
Yes.
All right, so Mike,
Jacksonville will be charged
it's an
their third and
incomplete
final
pass.
timeout for throwing the challenge flag on a play that is
It's
not
an
reviewable
incomplete
by the
pass,
coach.
but under 2 minutes,
Right.
the only person that can review is a replay official. Indy threw the challenge flag, so that's an automatic team timeout. With the incomplete, that'll be 4th down. They'll lose a timeout. They'll have 1 timeout remaining.
All right, Mike, well, we appreciate that. So it is Jacksonville that threw the challenge flag, and they lose the timeout, but the Colts on 4th down will still have a chance for the field goal attempts. So this is going to be a 25-yard field goal attempt for Adam Vinatieri, who's already converted 2 so far this afternoon. Vinatieri in his 20th year, 41 years old, and boy, he is still money in the bank. He has 3 made field goals this afternoon. It's 23-0 Indianapolis on top of Jacksonville. Oh, Andrew Luck, 18 of 23 so far in this first half. We mentioned before that in our meetings yesterday, he said the ideal world would be 50-50 pass plays to running. Passing has certainly dominated running here this afternoon, and he doesn't look any worse for wear because of that.
Well, and according to Pep Hamilton, their offensive coordinator, the game plan changes from week to week. Whatever they think is going to attack the defense and their weaknesses the best. Last week, they felt they can really run the ball against the Philadelphia Eagles. This week, because of the defensive front and the size and the presence that the Jacksonville defensive line brings, they felt that attacking them in the air, trying to get the verticals, attacking that cover 3 that Gus Bradley likes to run is the way to go. And so far, that game plan has been successful.
Look at the time of possession, Adam. 20 minutes, 57 seconds for the Colts. And the Jaguars defense has been on the field such a long time. The offense just under 8 minutes in this first half.
The key has been 3rd downs. It's the offense's inability to convert on 3rd down, and on defense, their inability to stop the Colts on 3rd down.
McAfee will kick it off. Todman back deep to receive, and Todman will let that one go out of the end zone. Jacksonville with 1:10 to play here in the first half. We'll get one more shot. Chad Henne at the quarterback will bring his offense out. Henne has not had a particularly sound afternoon, and Gus Bradley knows that.
Well, now with no timeouts, you know, if you're Jacksonville, you get the ball at halftime, but your offense hasn't done anything. You've got no timeouts because you lost it because you threw the challenge flag inside of 2 minutes. It'll be interesting to see if they try and attack downfield.
Off the play fake, Henne looking to throw. Throws to the left. Pass is complete to the left. And he's got a first down. The ball is loose. It's picked up by the Colts. Darius Butler is knocked out of bounds. Was he down? And we will see. The ball came out, and Butler was able to scoop it up and give the Colts the ball back.
Well, one of their most productive passes today, Mike Brown, and it looked like, tough to see, it looked like that ball may have been out.
Yep, I agree. DeQuell Jackson knocked it out.
A nice job by DeQuell Jackson running, punching that ball out from behind, and boy, when it rains, Tom, it rains some more.
And there's been a lot of rain the last couple of days here in Jacksonville, but this storm today that's been brewing in the first half is bigger than what we saw these last couple of days. Boy, a positive play. And give DeQuell Jackson credit. I mean, he popped that ball right on out.
Yeah, forcing turnovers coming into this game. Only 1 turnover, 1 takeaway on the season. And that's one of the things that Greg Manusky talked about. A, we've got to get pressure. B, we've got to be able to force turnovers and be a playmaking defense.
All right, 1 minute to play. Indianapolis with all 3 timeouts. They begin from the 29 of Jacksonville. Luck to throw. Pass to Bradshaw with a screen, and Bradshaw down to the 25, and Chuck Pagano calls the first time out as Will Blackman makes the tackle.
Well, you had a chance. You were fortunate that the third down went your way with the incomplete pass to T.Y. Hilton. You force a field goal. You have a chance to go down the field, hopefully get some points before halftime, and you know you're going to get the ball back at halftime, but another miscue, another mistake, and then you give Andrew Luck an opportunity inside the 30-yard line to go down the field and get more points before halftime.
There's Brown, who had the ball knocked away by DeQuell Jackson on a first down pass play. Well, Gus Bradley is always optimistic, as we mentioned. This first half has got to leave him shaking his head even more so than last week's first half against the Washington Redskins. On second down from the 26, Luck out of the shotgun. He has three receivers off to his right. He'll throw quickly to his right. Pass is complete to Reggie Wayne. A first down to the 18. Gino Hayes with the tackle, and a little hurry up now with 40 seconds and counting to play. 9 different receivers with a reception. And T.Y. Hilton, a sliding grab and a timeout at the 7 of Jacksonville. So 31 seconds to play. What did Reggie Wayne say about T.Y. Hilton? Not only is he study, he gets it. He understands what it takes to be a successful receiver in the National Football League. He has true passion. A guy you don't have to worry about. You played in the NFL. When you have guys that you don't have to worry about who are young players, that's a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. He's done such a good job coming into this league, and a guy that not only can get deep on you and catch that big ball, but his yards after the catch ability are second to none.
First and goal from inside the 10. Luck 21 of 26, 237 yards in this first half. He has Fleener in motion, one-on-one with Gratz on the outside. On first and goal, he's looking to throw again. Steps up in the pocket, rolls the pocket, throws to Fleener. Touchdown, Colts. Wide open at the 1. He slips in, and the Colts pop another score on the board. It's 29-0.
Boy, what a job by Luck as he escapes the pocket. He goes to buy time, and watch his throw, moving to his right, and he zips it right there as he's falling back. It's a good job by the Colts executing their offense. I mean, there really hasn't been anything. They haven't really tried to run the ball too much, but their passing game is dialed up.
30 first half points for Indianapolis. Well, if there was a worry even a little bit after the last 2 weeks as to whether this team would be ready to go in week number 3, I don't think there's any more worrying out in Indianapolis.
No, not in this game. I mean, their offense is rolling. Their passing game is on point. They're converting on third downs, and defensively, they've just smothered this Jacksonville offense. And let's be honest, it's not the best offense in the world, but if you want to be a dominant defensive team, this is what you have to do against bad offenses. You have to smother them, and that's exactly what Greg Minuski's defense has done here this afternoon.
Well, Andrew Luck has had a total opposite day than Chad Henne, who you just saw offensively. Luck has been upright. He's only been dropped 1 time. Henne has been chased and smothered and rushed for most of this first half. And with 28 seconds left to play here in the first half, Jacksonville will get it back with no timeouts left. Todman has not been able to return it. That one goes over his head and out of bounds. This Tuesday on CBS, it's the season premiere you've been waiting for. TV's #1 drama, NCIS, is back in action Tuesday at 8, 7 Central, only on CBS. You want to talk about total dejection. I mean, if you're a coach on the Jaguar staff, I mean, you've got to revamp things at halftime, and you've got to figure out a thing or two to do. to try to slow down Indianapolis' offense. As Toby Gerhart runs for a first down to the 32. They may just let this time wind off, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Well, the question for a lot of Jaguars fans, will we see Blake Bortles in the second half down 30-0?
You would think that there's a possibility of that, but I don't think Blake Bortles makes an appearance until after he's had a full week of practice as the number one.
All right, so we're at halftime. It's the Colts 30, the Jaguars nothing. When we return, the Verizon halftime report after these messages and a word from your local stations. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Well, the Colts certainly wanted to get better coming into this ball game against Jacksonville, and they have. They lead it 30-0. Let's take a look at our DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam. Andrew Luck, 3 touchdown passes in the first half off the play fake to Bradshaw. He finds Dwayne Allen for this touchdown pass. 244 yards overall for Andrew Luck. All right, with Adam Archuleta, who used to chase around Peyton Manning when his teams faced the Indianapolis Colts. Now the Jaguars are chasing around Andrew Luck, who has been phenomenal in this first half.
It's been tough for the Jacksonville defense, and I think it starts with there hasn't been much of a pass rush. You haven't really affected Andrew Luck, and they're finding the open zones in that cover 3 defense that they like to run. So most of it has been uncontested catches, receivers that have been open, and Andrew Luck has done a great job of spreading the wealth around to every receiver that he has on his roster.
All right, well, Blake Bortles has the helmet on. We may see him in the second half. The offense wasn't able to put a whole lot together in the first half behind Chad Henne, so we may see the youngster, and we would see him right away because Jacksonville will get the ball to begin the second half of today's ball game.
And the plan was to not have this happen. They thought that hopefully things would come around. Last week was maybe an aberration, and while we haven't seen the sacks and the pressure that they saw against the Washington Redskins, there's been absolutely nothing positive happening. So hopefully Blake Bortles is going to do what he was drafted to do and add some excitement to this offense.
All right, so the Jaguars will get it to begin the second half. Tucker just waves that kick off as it goes over his head and out of the end zone. And here's the reaction from the crowd today for Blake Bortles. So the rookie out of Central Florida with his first NFL snaps works from the shotgun on first down from the 20-yard line. Jacksonville down by 30. Robinson in the backfield, Bortles to throw incomplete. He was looking for shorts. Well, and this is one of the reasons why they drafted Blake Bortles 3rd overall, over 7,500 yards at Central Florida.
And he looks the part of what you want in your franchise quarterback. He's a big kid. He has the arm. He won the games, and he has the ability to extend plays with his feet and bring a sense of athleticism to the quarterback position and to the offense.
Well, they did give him a chance in the preseason. He threw for over 500 yards. The handoff goes to Denard Robinson, who spins away from one tackler and gets north to the 25. It'll be 3rd down and 5 to Quell Jackson with the tackle for the Colts.
A little bit of a different element, the pistol, and that's what Blake Bortles brings. Watch Zane Beadles and Luke Jokel on the left side. Really good job of opening up that lane, and Denard Robinson, another guy that has some explosion and some playmaking ability, gets upfield.
On 3rd down and 5, Bortles.
Mike's 32, Mike's 32.
Looking over the Mike linebacker with shorts in motion. Well, the Jaguars have just gotten younger with Blake Bortles in as their quarterback. A quick pitch, has some space, throws, pass complete, and a first down and more. Allen Robinson nailed across the 45. Well, the Jaguars looked defeated and tired in the first half. They're energized right now.
Well, he didn't get nervous. Laron Landry on a delayed blitz, and you see Bortles slide to his right. He identifies his wide receiver, Allen Robinson, and a nice job outside by the 6'3" wide receiver, breaking a tackle, making a play. This offense starting to get going a little bit.
21-yard gain. Bortles again out of the shotgun from the 46. Stepping away from pressure, goes down. He lets it go to Todman as he was going down. Eric Walden was in on the pressure. The Colts are saying, hey, man, he was on his way down. We mentioned the Jaguars have just gotten younger. They are the second youngest team in the National Football League. Now, that would be concerning for a lot of teams, but then you look and see that Seattle is the fourth youngest, and you think, well, they won a Super Bowl last year. It's okay to be young in the National Football League.
Yeah, that's by design. That's the way Gus Bradley wanted it, and he says that we're young, but it's a race to maturity, and that's the standpoint and how we want to build our football team.
Yeah, that was a great statement by Gus Bradley. A race to maturity. Here's Robinson on the pitch, stumbles across midfield, inside the 45, a first down.
Another sweep play, and watch as Luke Jokel, number 76, gets out, leads the charge. You get a nice crackback block by Allen Hurns to get the edge.
Well, folks are just settling back into their seats for the second half, but there certainly is some life in the stadium right now with Bortles as the quarterback. He'll hitch again, under pressure, rolls the pocket, and now he's going to run it. A flag comes down. He's inside the 35, stumbles to the 31. The flag, though, is all the way back at the 46 of Jacksonville, and this is probably going to be holding against the Jags.
Holding, number 70, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
So Walt Coleman tells us it is holding.
Yeah, it might be on Mickey Schuler, the tight end, but that's one of his strengths. The Blake Bortles, it's not there. You see the pump fake coming back, going through his reads. And then watch the little move right here. Uh-oh. Well, Jackson, that's what he brings to the table, but of course the hold brings it back.
All right, so first downs. Jacksonville's already matched their total from the first half. It's first down and long from the 46 of the Jags. First and 20. Robinson in motion. Hand off to Robinson, Denard Robinson. And he's stopped behind the line of scrimmage. A loss of almost 3. Zach Kerr, the rookie out of Delaware.
Well, they had something going there first few plays. You saw a couple of runs pop up inside, but just a whiff up front. And you see Zach Kerr doing a good job playing that stretch play and making contact in the backfield.
Out of Delaware, he's a Bluehead. Outstanding Division I AA program. Gerhardt checks back in for Robinson on second down and long. Off the play fake, flags can fly. Bortles steps up, fires to the middle, incomplete. Allen Hurns, they weren't sure how much he would play today. Off his fingertips.
Offside, number 93, defense, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
So Eric Walden called for the offsides. There's Walden next to Chuck Pagano.
Lined up in the neutral zone is what they called him for. That's calling it pretty tight. What about that little zip on that ball from Bortles?
Shorts in motion on second down for the 49. Off the play fake. And his pass is short to Cecil Shorts. Boy, I can only imagine the butterflies and the emotion that are going through this Florida native's body right now, getting a chance to play in the second half in his first NFL game.
Yeah, but he's picked it up. The coaching staff has said that he's ahead of schedule. Now, there's still a ton to learn because he only started for 3 seasons in college, and he showed some promise and some flashes in their preseason games, but still, there's a ton to learn. But you see the athletic qualities that he brings to the quarterback spot.
Under 12 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Pass is incomplete, intended for Mickey Schuler. Threw it behind him. It'll be fourth down. LaRon Landry in on the coverage.
A good break on the ball by LaRon Landry, and he knows he's got a rookie quarterback. He's going to stare down his target. That was Telegraph City as he tried to fire that ball in there to his tight end, but a good job by Landry to come in there and force the Jags to punt.
Griff Whalen back deep to receive this punt. And Whalen calls for the fair catch. Flags come in late. And a little bit of a bump. I believe a Jacksonville defender was pushed into Griff Whalen. We'll see who this penalty is against. Flag sits at the 21.
During the kick, holding number 27 of the return team. Has the distance to the goal. First down.
So a penalty against the Colts. That'll push them back. They'll get the ball for the first time. Blake Bortles' NFL debut has begun. Colts on top 30-0, but there's a little energy here at Jacksonville because Blake Bortles got the first drive of the second half. Now it's Andrew Luck who will go to work for the first time in the second half. Offset I formation from his end zone. He'll throw to Trenton Richardson out of the backfield. Richardson breaks a tackle to the 11. Well, this is the story of the first half, Adam. They scored on every possession they had the ball.
Yeah, and the one that really hurts, I mean, they all hurt because they scored so many times, is this one right here, that last touchdown, because that was in a 2-minute situation. Jacksonville had the ball. They had just completed a forward pass for a first down, and it was a fumble, giving Andrew Luck one more opportunity, and they cashed that in for a touchdown.
Pep Hamilton said Andrew Luck can finish his sentences. They know each other so well. Well, he finished everything Hamilton wanted in the first half. It's second down from the 12, and an audible called out by Luck. Play clock is down to 2. Gets it off of the play clock at 1. Simple handoff to Richardson. Tracked from behind. They might give him forward progress to the 11. Geno Hayes in on the tackle.
Yeah, number 55 doing a good job tracking this. You're going to see him come right off the edge up there as he tracks the running back. He sees the big guard pulling Jack Mutehort, makes the play in the backfield.
Ahmad Bradshaw checks in. There is Geno Hayes. By the way, T.Y. Hilton, one of the big weapons for the Colts, has an ankle injury, which he sustained in the first half. His return is questionable, but they still have other weapons they can go to, including the guy in motion, Kobe Fleener, the tight ends. On third down, Luck pass complete to Moncrief, and he's got a first down and more. Across the 30 to the 32, Posluszny makes the tackle, a gain of 21.
Well, you see a lot of pressure inside. You see all these jerseys inside, and they pop them for the screen. You got a missed tackle, but there's nobody in the middle field. And once he breaks that first wave of defenders, there's nobody there until he hits the secondary. So a great job by Andrew Luck getting that play call and getting the ball out to his wide receiver.
Good pickup in the third round of this past year's draft out of Mississippi. So the first downs, 16 passing first downs for Luck so far. He's got a first down to the 32. Off the play fake, here comes some pressure. It was picked up, he steps up, and he slings it over the head of Ahmad Bradshaw.
Boy, it's been the third downs that the Jacksonville defense has struggled. You had an opportunity, backed up. The offense has a little bit of life. The crowd is into it a little bit. For the first time on third down, you hear the crowd noise. And a little wide receiver middle screen allows the Colts to pop one, and now they're out past the 30-yard line.
6 for 9 on third down conversions. This is a second down and 10. And some movement.
Full start, number 74, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
It was Anthony Costanzo. I don't think that's what Andrew Luck had in mind when he was working on his quarterback voice, was getting his left tackle to jump. Costanzo's had a pretty active first couple weeks. He's had to go up against Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, and Trent Cole. And it's not much easier here today, although he's done a nice job against Chris Clemens and Red Bryant and Andre Branch in this ballgame.
Well, those guys, they're good pass rushers, but really, they're there to stuff the run. Those are big bodies that Costanzo has got to try and clear out of there in the run game.
On second down, Richardson in the backfield. Luck under pressure, dumps it off, and Richardson can't hang on. Third down and 15 for the Colts.
Affecting the pocket, getting some pressure, not allowing Andrew Luck to sit there quietly to look downfield and locate his target. A good job by that defense. Now forcing this and giving them the opportunity to make a play.
Derek Marks, the 6-year pro out of Auburn, was the first to push in. And a third down and 15. As loud as it is right now, that's how quiet it was at the end of the first half for the Jags. Pass is complete to Moncrief. He's stretched to the near side, and that's good pursuit on the part of the Jaguars. Will Blackman in on the coverage. Well, give them some credit. They haven't quit, particularly on this particular defensive stand.
And they did a nice job on the first and second down on both of those play sequences. The third down, they let the screen get out, but because of the offsides or the false start from Anthony Costanzo, puts him in a third and long situation. Now you just got to play deep, rally up, make the tackle, give Blake Bortles a chance to go down the field.
Pat McAfee on for his first punt of the afternoon. Mike Brown is back deep to receive for the Jaguars. This one hangs up pretty nicely, and Brown calls for the fair catch. All right, well, Blake Bortles will go at it again. His second series as a pro during the regular season when we return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. McDonald's, official sponsor of the NFL. I'm loving it. And by the Lincoln Motor Company and the first ever MKC.
Aerial coverage of today's game is provided by MetLife. If you're not going to be at the stadium today for the Jags and the Colts, you might as well be on the St. Johns River. A beautiful day here in Jacksonville. Bortles will hand the ball off to Gerhardt. And Gerhardt up across the 20 to the 21. You know, Blake Bortles grew up about 2 hours from here in Jacksonville. He went to Central Florida, decided to go there and play for George O'Leary instead of going to Colorado State, some of those other programs, just to kind of get an opportunity. He had a heck of a career at Central Florida. And those are his numbers on the first drive compared to Chad Henne. Chad Henne's numbers were on the first half. He's under pressure right now, trying to avoid it, and does. On the run, dumps it off. Pass is complete. Talfo, the fullback, slipped open behind everybody. And Adam, that's what you talked about, the athleticism that Bortles brings to avoid the coverage.
Really a fine job, Greg Vinuski. The perfect play call right here off of the edge to stop the bootleg pass. To watch it. He sees it, he reverses field, he keeps his eyes downfield, and he finds his target. So it's pretty exciting right there if you're a Jacksonville fan.
To the 47 of Jacksonville. They haven't had an offensive play on the Colts side of the field yet today. That will end. Denard Robinson inside Colts territory. DeQuell Jackson with the tackle.
You're seeing a lot more pressure from Greg Vinuski, trying to throw different looks, bringing members of the secondary, blitzing Laron Landry, just making sure that the young rookie is going to be able to handle all of the different looks. So far, he's been able to do just that.
The other difference, too, is Robinson's getting more reps. Bortles will keep it himself, and he's got some open space across the 30, and then dances out of bounds at the 26.
Well, he fooled Eric Walden here, and then he's going to keep it. And everybody was fooled, and that's probably not something that they practiced this week, because you don't plan on seeing this type of a play with Henne at quarterback. But you see the wheels, and that dimension right there, keeping defenses honest, is a big part of today's National Football League.
Well, they already have 12 offensive plays. This will be number 13 in the second half. Bortles out of the shotgun. Colts showing blitz. Bortles sets up in the pocket, lofts it to the right side. It is incomplete, nearly intercepted. Greg Toller, excellent coverage by the Colts. Cecil Shorts was the intended receiver.
That's good coverage. Press. He gets his hands on him. He's in position. He turns, looks for the ball, plays the ball. It's exactly how you coach it up. Greg Toller, and you look at these corners, both he and Vontae Davis, they played some pretty good wide receivers so far in the first two games and have really done a nice job out there on that island, holding those number 1 and 2 wide receivers down.
Toller didn't go to college right out of high school. He went to work at J.C. Penney before Division II coach saw him in a semi-pro game, gave him a shot, and now he's in the National Football League. As Gerhardt carries the defender inside the 25, DeQuell Jackson. And he's down to the 23-yard line.
Tom, you kind of get the sense, I think, that this is the offense that Jed Fish wants to run, you know, coming from Miami and now having, you know, some weapons and some toys and, you know, throwing the misdirection and the zone read. And This is kind of what they want this thing to look like. And so far, it's a small sample size, but looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's upbeat. More than anything else, there's some movement to it. Now, I know they're down 30-0, but there is movement to it. Bortles hit as he throws toward the end zone. Incomplete. That was nearly intercepted. Mike Adams in on the coverage.
But just reading his eyes, he's going to look this way the whole time. And you're going to see Mike Adams similar to what Laurent Landry did earlier in the game. And that's, one of those things. Right now, Bortles is just trying to make his reads, trying to do these things. And that's next level stuff, being able to use your eyes, moving safeties, moving linebackers. Lucky that wasn't an interception.
Scobie on for a 41-yard field goal attempt. Anger is the holder. This one's got plenty of leg to it, and the Jaguars are on the board with 5:13 to play, third quarter. Indianapolis 30, Jacksonville 3. Gus Bradley coaching them up on the Jags sideline. Well, there's Bortles with Chad Henne. Chad Henne, the consummate leader, with Jed Fish, the offense coordinator, after an 8-play, 59-yard drive and a 41-yard field goal attempt. All right, so the first half, 55 total yards. Second half, 93 yards. Bortles, put a little energy. He and Denard Robinson into this offense. How about this side-winding boot by Scobie that goes out of bounds? Colts will get it back. First and 10 from the 20. They'll talk offense. We'll talk the offense of the Colts when we return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile and by Voya Financial, changing the way you think of retirement.
Well, we're back here in Jacksonville, Florida. They're part of the renovations that were made this offseason. They started those renovations at the end of last season, and they were complete right before the first preseason ball game. Indianapolis with the ball on first down from its 20. The handoff to Bradshaw, doing a little dancing, and breaks free across the 35 and the 40. And Ahmad Bradshaw gets out of bounds at the 48-yard line. Josh Evans was able to clean him up.
Well, I believe this is Hugh Thornton back in the game. Watch this block as he clears the way for Bradshaw. This is how you start it up. You're going to see him come around, number 69. I mean, that's Red Bryant that he pushed all the way down the field, and Bradshaw easily cuts it. Big explosive run.
Yeah, really nice break of a missed tackle from Bradshaw. Flags come flying as that pass is dumped off to Allen inside Jacksonville territory. Sherilis is wondering, did they get me for holding?
Illegal use of hands to the face, 78 offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, that's a point of emphasis this year, is the hands to the face. With NFL Now, you can access the biggest NFL video library on the planet. Select your favorite teams or players, and NFL Now delivers nonstop videos on your favorite device. Get NFL Now free at NFL.com/now. Well, they'll move the ball back to the 38. Penalties were not an issue. In fact, nothing was an issue for the Colts in the first half. Facing a first and 20. Trent Richardson checks back in. 4 receivers, including Allen, who slipped off the offensive line. Doyle's on the left side of the offensive line. Handoff goes to Richardson. He didn't really have a blocker. Kozlowski is able to take him down, but he's still able to gain a few yards.
Well, Tom, the Colts had that illegal hands to the face by Gosder Sherilis. And if you go back to their last drive, the drive that they punted, they had an offsides and a false start. And so it was those self-inflicted wounds that Coach Pagano talked about. For offense to have success, we've got to be in a second medium or a third and short. We can't put ourselves behind schedule like this.
Well, second down and long. Luck rolling away and throws on the run. Pass is complete on the run. Hakeem Nicks was able to control it. Slides out of bounds at the 28 of Jacksonville.
Well, first rule, keeping contained in the pocket. Tyson Alualu, he comes inside. And Luck sees this, and he wisely moves to the right. There's nobody there. And because he's able to break the pocket, he buys time, and then he's able to find Hakeem Nicks on the sidelines.
29-yard gain. Here's Richardson. Checks down to him, and Richardson makes Kozlowski miss him inside the 15. Down to the 13. Time to go to New York. JB, Tony, an update with that Cleveland-Baltimore game.
Manziel, who?
Yeah, who needs cash when you have Hoyer? Brian Hoyer to Miles Austin for the 4-yard touchdown pass. Brian Hoyer, 17 of 19, 214 yards, and a touchdown. He is balling. Browns up, 21-17.
Getting it done. Tom and Adam.
All right, JB, Tony. Boy, Miles Austin has invigorated that offense from the receiving corps standpoint a little bit. It's first down from the 13, inside handoff to Richardson, who gets down close to the 5. Well, we wind down 2:37, 2:36. We just received word that T.Y. Hilton will not return for the Colts. They're up 30-3. That's more for this week to worry about if you're Indianapolis. He's such a big weapon for them. Blake Bortles has run the last 2 series for the Jaguars. He's sitting and watching Andrew Luck work his way down the field here for Indianapolis. On second down from the 6. Richardson hit in the backfield, hit again, knocked down. Well, Senderick Marks was the first guy to hit him, and that really slowed Richardson for everybody else.
He plays the run well. He plays the pass well. Very active. Always in there making plays, fighting through the traffic, gets the penetration. Good stop up front by the Jags defense.
So now 3rd down and 4. There's Senderick Marks. 14 tackles this year.
Watch out for that wide receiver screen.
Luck pumps. He's going to keep it himself. Dives forward. And he may be shy of the first down. Now, it depends on where he was touched because he didn't slide. He dove forward. They'll mark him at the 4. It'll be 4th down and 1 right now the way they see it. And at least at this point, the Colts look like they're going to go for it.
Well, they've been running the ball with really good success this drive. That's, Luck has been able to break the pocket a little bit, find Reggie Wayne, but it's really been the running game. It's been Ahmad Bradshaw, taking it to that defense. So I like this decision right now. You want to squash any type of energy or momentum or anything that the Jags have been able to get going on the offensive side of the ball. Good call.
4th down and 1, I formation. The handoff is given to Bradshaw. He's met, dives forward, flag comes flying. If this penalty's not against the Jags, then they probably have stopped the Colts. The officials can communicate away from each other this year, but this is so close to where the infraction happened that they confer. See the microphone that Walt Coleman's using. He can communicate with any of the officials on the field at any point. They're going to measure. And this will allow the Jaguars to decline the penalty. Well, the defense stands for Gus Bradley's squad.
Substitution on the offense. Number 64 did not report. That penalty's declined. The ball goes over. First down.
Javon Meredith came in as an eligible receiver, but they didn't tell anybody. He just snuck into the ball game. So Gus Bradley was able to sneak his defense up against Ahmad Bradshaw, stop them. 30-3, Colts on top. Jags with the ball when we return. Blake Bortles is obviously the big story for the Jaguars here in the second half. The fact that he's getting an opportunity to run the offense for the Jaguars. Denard Robinson's part of that storyline too, although he's out at the moment. Toby Gerhart in motion out of the backfield. And Bortles from his end zone pitches, loses the ball. He falls down on it and is taken down and loses it out of bounds. It'll be a safety for the Colts. Bjorn Warner, Eric Walden, they were all in the mix. And there is a flag down inside the 15 of Jacksonville.
Illegal contact, number 21 on the defense. 5-yard penalty.
All right, everything I just said about the safety, there's no safety. Penalty against the Colts.
Well, it was a great job by Werner last year's first-round draft pick, coming inside with the up and under. Terrific job. Look at what he does to Sam Young, the right tackle. But it's all for naught. And the Jags live to play another down.
They get a big break with 24 seconds to play here in the third quarter. Lerner, one of 3 players who were born in Germany to play in the National Football League, and a quick toss to Shorts, who gets up to the 15. So a gain of 6 on the play. That's his first reception of the afternoon, Cecil Shorts. They've thrown to him or targeted him, but it's his first reception as the time winds down. With 1 second left, they'll get a playoff here in the third quarter. Gerhardt trying to get to the outside, but he's tripped up by Greg Toller. So that's the end of the third quarter with the score. It's the Colts 30, the Jaguars 3. We'll return to Jacksonville after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Well, back here at Jacksonville, where the Indianapolis Colts lead it 30-3. We get set for the fourth quarter. Jacksonville scored its first points of the season in the third quarter, Blake Bortles, the quarterback, took over to begin the second half. And he's done a nice job. He's been under pressure, been able to avoid a lot of it. Quick slant, passes completes for a first down. Cecil Shorts, back-to-back catches. He stepped in front of Greg Toller.
And a nice job of Bortles identifying man coverage. And that was tight coverage by Toller, but they're able to connect, extend the drive.
Jordan Todman checks in. He's in the backfield on first down from the 21. Bortles out of the shotgun. Fires to his left. Pass is incomplete. Alan Hearns had it, and it was knocked away. Darius Butler was in on the coverage for the Colts.
Well, it's been a much different looking offense here in the second half. Starts out hitting his wide receiver, Allen Robinson, scrambling the fullback on the sideline, Will Tafaro, and then this, what he brings to the table. The ability to use his legs brings that extra dimension that I know Jed Fish cannot wait to install next week's game plan with.
Well, that's the next question. I mean, is this transition complete? Is he now the guy? And I guess we'll find out over this week.
I think it has to be.
Pass is incomplete. Now when Hearns, the intended receiver, flag comes from the far side. More flags in this half against the Colts. There's Walt Coleman, the veteran official.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, number 21, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Vontae Davis called for the foul. We'll just assume that it was after the 5 yards that he made contact with the receiver. 7 penalties now for the Colts. Gerhardt checks back in. High formation for the Jags on first down from the 26. Gerhardt takes the handoff, trying to find some opening. Oh man, did Eric Walden nail him? A loss of 1. Time to go to JV and Tony in New York, Green Bay and Detroit. A quick update.
A speeding Bush.
Well, you're going to see Reggie Bush taking around the left-hand side. Once he gets in the open field, he's hard to tackle. Woo! Nice move right there. Reggie Bush's first touchdown of the season for 26 yards. Detroit is up 19-7.
Tom McCarthy, Adam Archuleta.
Reggie Bush lost his hat on that one. See, the Lions have lost 23 of 27 against Green Bay. They played each other on Thanksgiving Day a year ago. Here's Bortles to throw. Lofts one to the far side of the field, and it's intercepted. Vontae Davis stayed step for step for the receiver, and he laid out for his first interception of the year. Well, we talk about the athleticism that Bortles brings. How about the athleticism of Vontae Davis staying foot for foot with Allen Robinson?
Well, what a play by Vontae Davis, who was locked up on the outside just a moment ago against Allen Robinson, with just the Colts' second interception of the season. Giving Andrew Luck one more chance to put points on the board.
Yeah, they're up 30-3 with 13:35 to play here in the fourth quarter. Trent Richardson is the deep man. Luck to throw, has Doyle. Yeah, lowers his shoulders and picks up some positive yards. By the way, Vontae Davis, we were talking to him in our meetings yesterday, and we were talking about the way the defense has played the last 2 weeks. He said, well, this is going to be a totally different day because the last 2 weeks we've been playing no huddle. He said, so we're conditioned and ready to go, although today they haven't been on the field all that much.
Hey, you look at it, they've done a good job on the edges, both he and Greg Toller on wide receivers. Where the Colts have had their problems is inside. Julius Thomas for the Denver Broncos, and then last week we saw what Darren Sproles did on the inside. So I'm surprised the Jaguars are trying to attack outside, but they don't really have the matchup, especially with Mercedes Lewis being out, to attack the middle of the field.
On second down, a quick pitch goes to Richardson, and Richardson has a first down. He drags the defender up to midfield. Andre Branch, Derek Marks, both in on the tackle for the Jaguars. We haven't talked a whole lot about Chris Clemens. You talked about him during the open a little bit, but it's partly because Andrew Luck has been quick to get rid of the football, too.
Well, and I think the offensive line have done a really nice job protecting him. And when there has been some pressure, the Jags defense has lost contain. And you've seen Luck extend and get outside the pocket and locate his receivers downfield.
Luck now 28 of 35 on the afternoon. Another first down from midfield. They'll run. And Richardson runs left, tried to step inside. Geno Hayes makes the tackle. Everywhere we go, players talk to Adam about using him in video games in past years and using his defense from the Rams in fantasy leagues. Well, if you're a fantasy player and you had Andrew Luck today, well, you're riding high right now offensively.
That's a pretty good day right there. 342 yards or 24 yards. Take that any day of the week.
Second down and 8.
Check out one hut. Let it roll. Big 70.
Allen sets up in the backfield. Off the play fake. Luck, he's under pressure, just gets rid of it. Oh, was he outside the pocket? Helped up by Andre Branch. Great pursuit by Branch. He threw it about 10 yards shy of Kobe Fleener.
Well, that was close. I mean, that's right there on the edge of whether or not he was in the pocket.
Well, flag is being dropped now by Walt Coleman.
I think he was. I think he was outside the pocket.
Just by a step or so?
Well, the entire line of scrimmage moved about 7 yards to the right, so it's a little difficult to try and get a gauge on it. You see this entire line of scrimmage going this way. But the question is, was there a receiver in the area?
There's no foul for intentional grounding. There was a receiver in the area. The quarterback wasn't in the pocket.
All right, so Walt Coleman informs us that there was a receiver in the area. We'll assume it was Fleener because Fleener was sort of walking up as the ball bounced on the grounds.
Sort of in the area.
Sort of in the area.
It's about 10 yards downfield.
Gus Bradley not too pleased by that call. It was close.
Hold it.
So it'll be third down from the 48 of Jacksonville. There's that snap count again. Flags come flying. This is going to be a free play. He sets up and fires to the far side. And how about Reggie Wayne coming back to make that reception? Demetrius McCray, was in on the coverage.
Offside, number 91, defense. That penalty's declined. Play results in a first down.
All right, so the quarterback voice helped again for Andrew Luck.
Look at this offensive line, the pocket that they create, and the time that it gives Andrew Luck. I mean, look how it's counting in your head how long he's gotten. He's waiting, and then all of a sudden, that's how Reggie Wayne, the 14-year veteran, is able to get open. Look how much time he has to work against McCray. That little soft spot right there, McCray plays it perfectly. He's sinking, but Reggie Wayne doing a better job playing the ball.
Yeah, the Jaguars were saying there might have been a push-off, but it didn't look like any push-off at all. So that's the 9th play of 20 yards or more for Andrew Luck this afternoon. It's first down from the 25. Again, T.Y. Hilton's out with an ankle injury, but they haven't missed a beat. Richardson right through the middle, down to the 23. Well, yesterday in our meetings, Reggie Wayne came in and immediately went to Adam Archuleta and said, Adam, how you doing? How long has it been? And then they talked about this play right here. Were you beating on this, Adam Archuleta?
No, absolutely not. Corner is supposed to be over the top, and I'm supposed to be underneath.
We'll get back to that in a moment. It was a fun moment in our meetings with Reggie Wayne. On second down, Luck stumbles, throws to the end zone, and it's caught. Nope, they're going to say incomplete. He was out of bounds. It was grabbed by Dante Moncrief.
Still a pretty good effort right there on the sideline by the rookie out of Ole Miss. Playing the back shoulder, the body control. Does he get it? One.
Boy, it looks like
it looked like he got it.
Has
it looked
control.
like his feet got in. The question is, does he have control?
Well, the official is right there, and Chuck Pagano is going to ask Walt Coleman about that play. The flag has been thrown, the red flag, the challenge flag. That was a very athletic play by Moncrief. We'll talk more about it when we come back. 10:36 to play, fourth quarter. Indianapolis on top, 30-3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount double check today. Bud Light reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Kelley Blue Book. Find out what you should pay for your next new car at KBB.com.
Well, back here in Jacksonville, that's a look at the landing along the St. John's in downtown Jacksonville. Walt Coleman is letting us know.
Here's a catch. The ball's out of bounds at the 1 yard line.
That it was
Indianapolis
a good
will not be
catch.
charged with a timeout.
Indianapolis will not be charged a timeout, so a catch down to the 1 yard line. Our officiating expert, Mike Carey, joins us. Mike, this looks pretty clear cut.
Yes, it is, and it's a great challenge by Indy. Good coverage, complete control, 2 feet down. When the receiver went to the ground, he still maintained control. That's a great reversal and a great use of replay.
Yeah, it's clear right there, 1 foot, 2 feet. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate that. Great job. First and goal from the 1. Luck under center, I formation. Richardson is the deep man. Allen in motion. The handoff to Richardson, running right. Big pile right there, trying to get through. Did he get in? No signal yet. It looks like they're going to say he was down just shy of the goal line. Red Bryant makes the tackle for the Jaguars, and you can add a few other names there. There was a pretty good surge.
Yeah, nice wall right there by the left side of that defensive line. They're trying to pull Jack Newhort, the left guard, around, but absolutely nowhere to go.
Here's Richardson. His arm is on the goal line, but the ball did not break the plane. So second and goal from inside the 1. Again, Richardson will try it again. Met again. Smothered at the 1 yard line. Posluszny came up and applied the first hit for the Jaguars.
Well, we talk about old school middle linebacker. This is reading the play, diagnosing, getting downhill, and stuffing Richardson in the backfield. Great job by Posluszny, the middle linebacker.
Post came in with 19 tackles this year. He's had a very active day. 11 tackles this afternoon. It'll be third and goal from the 1. Bradshaw checks in for Richardson. 4 receivers. Luck to throw. Flag comes flying. Pass is complete to Hakeem Nicks. Touchdown, Colts. There is a flag, though. I don't know if the Jaguars got everybody off the field.
No, it was too many men on the field. So that touchdown is going to stand.
Alualu was trying. He was trying to get off the field, Adam.
Offside. Defense number 93. The penalties declined. 12 men on the field. Number 93 was still on the field. That penalty is also declined. Touchdown.
So Hakeem Nicks with the touchdown reception. Look how he was trying to get off the field here.
There he is right there, number 93. Communication. Andrew Luck sees that they're having a problem getting lined up. Quickly snaps the ball. Get a free play, but you didn't need it.
It almost looked like that sideline was running away from Alualu as he was trying to get over to the Jags side of the field. So 36-3, Colts on top. Hakeem Nicks with his second touchdown reception of the season. He was vacant last year from getting into the end zone. Reggie Wayne was talking glowingly about Hakeem Nicks and what he's brought to this offense here in 2014. Vinatieri on for the point after, and it's good. 37-3, Colts on top, 8:53 to play in the fourth quarter. Well, both these teams came in 0-2, both looking for their first win. Andrew Luck and the Colts are a step away. Coming up next, it's a Super Bowl rematch. Peyton Manning and the Broncos travel to Seattle to take on Russell Wilson and the world champion Seahawks. That's coming up next here on CBS. Broncos with 15 different starters from last year's team that went to the Super Bowl, which they lost 43-8.
Not to mention a rebuilt defense. Hopefully they think that's going to be the difference. It sure looked good so far in the first two games of the season, but boy, going up there to Quest Field, that is a different animal. Such a great environment.
Well, you would realize that the schedules come out so early that you look at the Super Bowl rematches one season after. This one is one of 6 coming up later on today. Of course, Green Bay, New England, 97, and then Buffalo at Dallas in 1993. You would think it would happen more, but it's the luck of the draw.
I'm interested to see which Seattle defense we're going to see. The one from week 1 against Green Bay or the one on the road against San Diego. So this one, you better believe I can't wait to watch this one.
114 on the ground last week, temperature-wise, as Bortles is wrapped up and taken down in San Diego. That'll be a loss inside the 15. You name it. Quarles was there. A bunch of different defensive linemen wrapped up Bortles and took him down for the loss.
They just overpowered that offensive line for Jacksonville. There's about 3 defensive linemen that just used bull rush. And as you can see, there was nowhere for Bortles to step up.
3 sacks for Indianapolis here this afternoon, and they came in with just 1. That was a bone of contention. They felt like they had to get to the quarterback. Denard Robinson takes the handoff. He'll run left. Gain of 3. DeQuell Jackson makes the tackle. How about Denard Robinson, Adam? You know, we talked this week with Chad Henne, and he said how improved he is as a runner, how improved he is as a receiver. How important will the transition of Robinson getting more reps be to this Jaguars team?
Well, last year they really didn't know how they wanted to use him, so he bounced around, played some running back, played some receiver, but you know, he really doesn't have the natural hands to be that threat as a wide receiver, but they think, and I think he could be a pretty good change of pace running back once he starts to get a feel for it.
On third down, Bortles to throw, middle of the field, pass is complete to Robinson. LaRon Landry in on the coverage.
Well, nice job. You're going to see right here Denard Robinson come underneath on the angle route. They're running it up and under, and Robinson comes across the field. LaRon Landry recognizing a little bit too late, and Bortles paints him up.
5 for 13 is Bortles with 74 yards. Topman is in.
Green Eddie.
He's been rotating with Gerhardt and Denard Robinson. Quick toss to the near side. It's complete to Robinson again. He tries to break a tackle and he slips out of bounds. At about the 38, Toller in on the tackle. 7:02 to play here in the fourth quarter. Asked Chuck Pagano about Greg Toller yesterday. We told his story, the fact that he didn't get recruited out of high school because of his grades, working at J.C. Penney, and then a Division II coach saw him. I said, is that surprising to you? He goes, not in this day and age. If you're a football player, they're going to find you. It doesn't matter where you are, whether it be J.C. Penney or the local Sandlot. Pass is complete to a stumbling Hearns. He breaks loose, and he's going to go across the 15, 10-5 touchdown, Jacksonville. 63-yard pass play, Bortles to Hearns. The first touchdown pass for Blake Bortles in his NFL career.
Well, you kind of saw the same thing against the Philadelphia Eagles on a quick slant. He's going to come on this side of your screen, and you can see 1, 2 missed tackles. You see the strength that he has. 6'3", 195 pounds. Breaks some tackles. Had a quiet week last week, but you see the potential that they think they have here at the wide receiver position.
And even with the sore ankle and all, he was able to rumble his way into the end zone. A 63-yard pass play. I don't know if you can make it out, but in the background they're chanting Bortles, Bortles, Bortles. His first touchdown pass of his NFL career. First time to get to the end zone this afternoon.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. More live games than ever before with NFL Mobile. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
That is Friendship Fountain here in Jacksonville. They're a very friendly town. Today it's the Colts who have been not so friendly. They lead at 37-10. The kickoff is punched into the end zone, and the Colts will take a knee. Thursday night football starts right here. It's an NFC East rivalry as the Giants take on the Redskins. Another big-time matchup in prime time. Thursday night football at NFL Network and CBS. Well, it does seem like Eli Manning has kind of figured some things out here this afternoon. 21 of 28, 234 yards. No INTs as we speak, Adam. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a very big deal. But how about Kirk Cousins came in last week and just sliced up this Jacksonville defense? Might have to keep an eye on him, Tom.
Oh, they're locked at a dogfight right now with the Eagles. Matt Hasselbeck, the 17-year veteran, will take over at quarterback for the Colts. What a mentor he's been for Andrew Luck. The handoff is given to Boone Herron. A gain of 1. It's 2nd down and 9. Let's go to New York. JB with a preview of our late game.
Most of you will see coming up next, Super Bowl repeat, Broncos at Seahawks. Manning looking for another opportunity against Seattle, and Russell Wilson, who runs perhaps the best balanced offense in the league. 2 championship caliber coaches manning the sidelines. That's coming up next here on CBS. Back to Tom McCarthy, Adam Archuleta.
All right, JB, looks like it's a beautiful day in Seattle. It's 2nd down and 9 from the 21. Hasselbeck out of the shotgun, giving him some reps with 6 minutes, 10 seconds to play here in the 4th quarter. Allen, the tight ends, has a first down up across the 30. All right, so there are players that are still in the National Football League from when you played.
Yeah.
Matt Hasselbeck is one of those guys. He was in the NFL when you played.
We had a lot of battles being out there in the NFC West, so I got the chance to play against him twice a year. And it was always fun going up against him and that Mike Holmgren offense. But that's amazing that he's been here for so long.
Does it make you feel? Does it make you feel old?
No, I never feel old, Tom.
Well, you see his numbers. He's just shy of 35,000 passing yards in his career. Over 200 touchdowns. It's first down from the 33. He'll throw. He wobbles one, and Allen can't hang on. You wonder how hard it is to transition from being an every down quarterback to being a backup, which he's been the last several years. I know as you get older, you know your roles change, and he's obviously been accepting of that.
It's a pretty good gig. I mean, not too many jobs out there at 39 years old, paid the way this one does, gives you the hours and the flexibility of this one does, and you get to hang out with Andrew Luck every day.
2nd down for the 33. Triangle receivers to the near side for the Colts. Quick toss to Hakeem Nicks, and Nicks has a seam. And he's about 2 yards shy of a first down. Alan Ball in on the tackle. Well, we talked a lot this week with the Indianapolis Colts players, whether it be Andrew Luck, whether it be Reggie Wayne, their coaching staff, about the first 2 games. They didn't feel like they were too far off. Those were 2, I mean, if you break up the halves against the Broncos, 2 competitive ball games for them. Does this put them back on the right track, you think?
I think it does. And remember, those are 2 very good offenses, 2 very good football teams, playoff teams from a year ago. So they just weren't able to put the entire football game together. And there were some big critical plays that they ended up being on the wrong end of that were the difference in that game.
A 3rd down, a home run ball for Moncrief, but he can't hang on. Incomplete. It'll be 4th down. Well, Chuck Pagano said he was disappointed but not discouraged with his team. They wanted to put 4 quarters of football together, and although each quarter has not been the same, first 2 were absolutely dominant. I think this is as close to 4 quarters as you could put together if you're Chuck Pagano and the Colts.
Yeah, absolutely. They executed on offense, and they thrashed that Jacksonville defense early in the first half. They shut out the offense in the first half. You've had a couple of plays here and there with Bortles and some uniqueness, but for the most part, I think this is certainly a game that they can build on.
Second punt of the day from McAfee. Brown back deep to receive. This is a beauty from McAfee. Over the head of Brown. It bounces inside the 5. It winds around and is tapped back in and will be stopped close to the 3-yard line. Pat McAfee, not only an accomplished golfer, but also an accomplished punter out of West Virginia. Probably reeling from the loss to Oklahoma yesterday. But this guy was a heck of a punter in college on that turf in West Virginia, and he's carried it over to the National Football League.
It's always the punters, the kickers, and the quarterbacks that are good golfers. Why is that?
Maybe they have time on their hands?
Oh, man.
What do you think? Is this good form? Elbows tight to the body.
Looks like he stuck it.
Well, Bortles will come back and lead this offense. Denard Robinson in the backfield with him. Got to be careful here. 4:14 to play in the fourth quarter. Bortles throws out of his end zone. It's complete. He's got a little breathing room up to the 9-yard line. Pass is caught by Allen Robinson. I have to tell you, I've been pretty impressed with Robinson in the second half, the rookie out of Penn State.
Sure, made a big play. And that's what they're looking for. They went out in the draft and they got a lot of young wide receivers and their quarterback, and they feel like, yes, they're young, but they feel like they have a chance to grow together. And provided they hit on the first 3 draft picks, which were Blake Bortles and Marquise Lee and Robinson, that they're going to be able to have something pretty special on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, Robinson back-to-back catches. Marquise Lee is out with an injury. Very talented receiver out of USC.
I mean, if this works out with Bortles and these wide receivers, then this could be turned into a pretty special offense. So there's going to be some ups and downs and growing pains, but you know, that's the way they chose to build this football team. There's a lot of potential.
Bortles now 9 of 17 throwing the football this afternoon. That play was broken pretty quickly. So make it 9 of 18. Well, these Colts defenders who are in this ball game, they're not stopping. Kelsey Quarles swatted that one away. Second down. Well, Adam, we talked a lot about the offensive line for the Jaguars in the open. How do you think they performed? I guess it's a tale of 2 different halves, the way it's looked.
Well, better than they did last week, but it was a pretty conservative game plan. And I think that you saw some of the things that Bortles, just like this, that he brings to the table.
Well, he's intercepted. It's Greg Toller with his second pick of the year. He may run this one back. He has a blocker, one man a beat into the end zone. Touchdown, Colts. That one was floated right out to the middle of the field, and Toller read it perfectly. And what a run back to get into the end zone. It's 43-10 Indianapolis.
Well, that was a heck of a run back. We've seen some really good things from Blake Bortles, but we've seen some rookie mistakes. We've seen him stare down some wide receivers, and then there's this. Rolling to his right, you see Greg Toller looking like a panther out there ready to pounce. Reads his eyes, drops back inside, and I love the moves. I love the ability to get in the end zone. Looking sweet.
Well, Greg Toller's mom once told him, when your number is called, you better be ready. And he was ready for that 47-yard interception return for a touchdown. Vinatieri's point after is good. A little exclamation point for the Colts on top 44-10 this afternoon over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, I don't know if any coach is ever satisfied, truly satisfied. Have you ever met a coach that was truly satisfied?
No, never.
All right, but Chuck Pagano, I would think, has to be close to satisfied this afternoon.
There's going to be stuff. They're going to turn on that tape and they're going to say we did a good job here and a good job there. But you better believe they are going to find things to work on. That's just the nature of the business. It can't always be roses, even though it seems like that's the case.
All right, well, they're on their way to their first victory of the year. Under 3 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter, a 44-10. Gus Bradley on To Tell the Truth Monday. He's going to have a lot of truth to be told. He's got his notepad that he's writing down right now. We've talked about the second-year coach who came over from Seattle. defensive-minded guy. He is as positive a coach that I've been around and talked to. And we do think, everybody does think he's heading in the right path, but still some growing pains going on down here in Jacksonville.
But it's not all, positive and sitting there and holding hands. There's a large piece of accountability that he brings to the table. So there's not this, let's not think that, he's going into the locker room and saying, hey guys, we did a great job, let's try harder. No, there's very specific things that they believe in that they have to do to play winning football. And guys know, yeah, he's a positive football coach, but look, I better do my job and I better do it the way that my coach asked me to.
Well, with 2:58 to play here in the fourth quarter, we look at the remaining schedule for the Colts. They have the easiest based on winning percentage in 2013. But things change a lot in the National Football League. That 388, it may be skewed a little bit, but for them, a couple of very good opponents to start the season. Now they can build off of what they did here this afternoon.
Now that means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. You got to suit it up every single Sunday, regardless of who you're playing.
Here's Gerhardt hurtling through the defense. His best run of the day off the pass play from Bortles. LaRon Landry with the tackle up across the 45 to the 46.
We really haven't seen a lot of this. We haven't really seen a lot of screen passes to the running backs today. And really a nice job. Yeah, it's late in the ball game. Offensive lineman doing a good job getting out there. The center, Luke Belanco, trying to pave the way.
Gain of 26 on the play. The pitch to Todman running left. And Todman's inside Colts territory for another first down. A gain of close to 11 on that run. Vontae Davis in on the tackle. As we head toward 2 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. They do signal first down. Will he get this play off? He does, just by a hair. Slant to Shorts. And Shorts has a first down. So we've reached the 2-minute warning here in Jacksonville. It's the Colts 44, the Jaguars 10. We'll be back right after this. Coming up next, the NFL at CBS just keeps coming on with a super showdown between the Broncos and the Seahawks, where the Chiefs challenge the Dolphins. Check local listings. Well, with Adam Archuleta, I'm Tom McCarthy. It's first down for the Jaguars. And pass complete off the 2-minute warning to Cecil Shorts down to the 31. Josh Gordy in on the coverage for the Colts. Hurry up offense for Jacksonville. They want to use all of this 140 and counting to play to continue to grow the confidence of Blake Bortles, who started the second half for the Jaguars. And he'll keep it himself. What a play fake. Toby Gerhardt sold that perfectly, and it allowed Bortles to run left.
And there's that quarterback keep off of the zone read, and I'm pretty sure if you're a Jacksonville fan, you're ready to see this for a lot of games to come. It's just one of those elements. You don't want your quarterback carrying the ball too much, but to keep the defense honest and keep that defensive end from collapsing down, it's tough to defend.
From the 22, low pass complete to Robinson. I know it's hard to separate 34 points, but have you seen good things from Bortles in spurts besides the interceptions?
Well, there certainly has been a lot more energy to the offense. They're running a little bit more crisp than they were. It's not as stale and as stagnant as we saw in the first half, but he's made rookie mistakes, and there's certainly a lot of room to grow and a lot of things that he's got to do better. You can't throw that interception. You can't stare down receivers, but look, he didn't have a full week of practice with the first team, and he's a young guy that has only had 30 starts in college. He's young, and there's going to be growing pains, but I have a feeling that Jed Fish and the offensive staff here are going to have a lot of fun as the season goes on.
Just 22 years old. It's second down and 1 from the 13. Out of the shotgun, the handoff goes to Gerhardt. He has the first down. He hops down to the 10. And that's where they'll spot him. The ball was loose. And the Colts come up with it. But I believe they're going to say that Gerhardt was down. The whistle did blow. 32 seconds and counting left to play. First down from the 10. It'll be first and goal And Bortles fakes the spike and throws to shorts. Touchdown, Jacksonville. A la Dan Marino. A little fake spike and then a fastball to shorts. It's 44-16.
Boy, I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, some mustard on that, didn't he?
Yeah, nice zip. Good job by Shorts to keep that concentration and come down with it.
Well, the fake spike froze everybody except for Shorts. It's a 10-yard touchdown pass. 44-16. Bortles now 14 of 24, 222 yards and a couple touchdowns. The point after is good. (44-17), 18 seconds to play. There is a flag down. There's Walt Coleman, the veteran official.
Illegal use of hands to the face, 51 defense. That 5-yard penalty will be assessed. The try is good.
Well, we talked about it being a fake spike a la Dan Marino. Let's flash back. This was stunning. Marino against the Jets, November of 1994. He shocked everybody with this play. Look how frozen the defense was. And Ingram just slipped into the end zone. Bortles, the fake.
There you go.
And then bam. Well, Bortles did grow up.
2 years old?
Yeah, I was going to say. Bortles did grow up just outside of Orlando. Maybe he was a Dolphins fan. 44-17 the score, 18 seconds to play. 222 yards in this second half. Blake Bortles taking over for Chad Henne. Talking to Jed Fish on the sidelines. Gus Bradley maybe hoping that he's seen a little ray of sunshine with the way the second half is unfolded at times for Bortles. Jed Fish, the second-year offense coordinator, was at the University of Miami. He was with Gus Bradley in Seattle as a quarterbacks coach. 18 seconds to play. This one will skip into the end zone and out of the end zone. Don't forget, coming up, Denver and Seattle, rematch of last year's Super Bowl, dominated by the Seattle Seahawks. Denver comes in 2-0. Seattle comes in 1-1. A game up in Seattle, one of the best home field advantages in all of football. Just from the sights, it looked like it was a gorgeous day up in Seattle. 18 seconds to play. Matt Hasselbeck, the quarterback for the Colts, will come out. Victory formation for the Colts. Hasselbeck takes a knee, and that should do it. Chuck Pagano's team wanted to play 4 quarters of football here this afternoon. Well, they were pretty close to that as they have dominated the Jacksonville Jaguars 44-17. Andrew Luck, unbelievable. He tied his career high with 4 touchdown passes. But we did see the introduction of Blake Bortles. 44-17 the final. Coming up next, it's the NFL doubleheader action. You'll see Denver at Seattle or Kansas City taking on Miami. For Adam Archuleta, this is Tom McCarthy saying so long for Jacksonville. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. Coming up, the NFL Today update. We'll take you to New York for all the scores and highlights after this.